Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tutor Time. I'll be your host today, Miss Allen. Today's lesson is a Common Core standard for fourth grade, and we're going to be dividing up to a four-digit dividend by a one-digit divisor. Scholars will learn how to divide numbers with a two-digit divisor when they get to fifth grade. So the fourth grade standard, since it says up to a four-digit dividend, I'm going to do I'm going to do three problems, one that has a two-digit dividend, a three-digit dividend, and then a four-digit dividend. And I'm going to show you how to divide these three problems using three different strategies. The first strategy is going to be the standard algorithm, which is the way that most people learned how to divide, but we're teaching our scholars now to divide also using the area model and the place value model. The place value model is really the best model possible for those scholars who still do not know their multiplication and division facts as well as they should. And just as a reminder, learning your multiplication facts and division facts is a third grade level skill. So if your scholar is in the fourth grade or above and they're still struggling with that, my suggestion is that you would get some flashcards and start working with them on their multiplication facts because they definitely need to learn. So let's get started. Now, before I actually start doing any math, what I am going to do is we're going to learn the correct labels or terminology for parts of a division problem. When they're taking standardized tests, they usually use the correct terminology, and I found that a lot of times, since our scholars don't know it, that confuses them, and an answer that they know or knew the answer to, they don't get right because they don't know the correct terminology. So I'm going to write up here and then I'll rewrite this problem in a second. So let's do it. So the number on the inside of the house, 1,567, that is your dividend. The number that's right outside the door, that number is your divisor. And your answer to your problem, which goes on top of the house, that is your quotient. So when they're asking you during a state test or district test, which are our standardized tests, when they're asking your scholar to find the quotient, they want to know the answer. If they're asking about the divisor, they're asking about the number that you're using to divide by. And if they're asking about the number inside the house or the number that's being divided, that is called the dividend. So now that we have that straight, let's jump in. Now, because I'm using chart paper, I may not have enough room to do all three strategies on one sheet of paper. So I think what I'm going to do is just do the area model and the standard algorithm on one sheet, and then I'll come back and do them on a using a place value chart on another sheet. So let's label. So we're going to use standard algorithm over here. And then we're going to use area model over on this side. So, scholars, parents, let's get started. So our first number is 97 divided by 8. So the first thing we ask ourselves is how many times can 8 go into 9 without going over? And the answer is, very good, scholars, it's 1. And I'm going to put a little multiplication symbol here as a reminder to check my work. And how we check a problem is by usually doing the opposite operation. So since we're doing division, in order to check, the opposite operation would be multiplication. And so when we're finished, we're going to multiply our quotient times our divisor, and it should equal up to our dividend. And if it does, then we know that our answer is correct. So let's finish up. A little quick note before I move on, that when I have this 1 on top of the 9, if I was going to split this into place value, the 9 is in the tens column. Very good, scholars. So this 1 actually represents 10. Very good, scholars. So 8 times 10 is 80. So I'm going to put 80 down, and I'm going to subtract 80 from 97. So 7 minus 0 is 7. 9 minus 8 is 1. So now we want to know how many times can 8 go into 17 without going over. Very good, scholars. 2 times. And 8 times 2 is 16. And now I'm going to subtract 16 from 17, leaving me with 1. Very good, scholars. So now, scholars, please don't forget to bring your 1 up. We put a lowercase r to represent the remainder, and we're going to put a 1. So now I'm going to change to, let's use green pen, and let's do a check. So I'm going to do my check right in the center. So we're going to multiply the quotient times the divisor. So we're going to multiply 12 times 8. And if your scholar knows their multiplication facts, they should be able to tell you the answer. But let's do it the long way. 8 times 2 is 16. I put my 6 down, carry my 1. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 1 is 9, giving me 96. And if you knew what 12 times 8 was, you already knew it was 96. But don't forget your remainder. So we need to add in that number 1. And 96 plus 1 is 97. Very good, scholars. And as you can see, my numbers match. So I know that my number is correct. So now, scholars, let's move on to our area model. And I'm going to use a blue marker to represent that. So just like if we were multiplying by using the area model strategy to multiply, we're going to use the area model strategy to divide. And the first thing that we need to do when using area model, that's correct, scholars, draw a rectangle. And so how many numbers are in my dividend? 2. So I'm going to make sure that my rectangle has 2 boxes and my divisor goes right outside the door. Now, if we were multiplying, our number 97 would go across the top, and we will put our answer in the box. But since we are dividing, we're going to do it in the opposite way. So our number is going to go on the inside, our dividend, once we split it up using place value, and then our answer or quotient is going to go on the top, just like it does with the standard algorithm. So scholars, the first thing we need to do is we need to split it based upon place value, but we are going to split it taking into account that our divisor is 8. So we want our first number in the tens column to be a multiple of 8. And so what 2-digit number or number in up to the tens could I pull out of 97 that would be a multiple of 8? And remember, a multiple is the multiplication answer to your multiplication facts. So that would be 80. And then when I subtract 80 from 97, I'm left with 17. So I can divide 8 evenly into 80. So scholars, how many times can 8 go into 8 without going over? One time. Very good, scholars. 8 times 1 is 8. And how many zeros do I have? 1 0. So I'm going to move that 0 up. Now, scholars, how many times can 8 go into 17 without going over? Very good, scholars. 2 times. 8 times 2 is 16. And when I subtract 16 from 17, I am left with a remainder of 1. And so now you just simply want to add these two numbers, and you're going to end up with 12 remainder of 1. And it's just that simple. So now I'm going to move my paper up. And now I'm going to do our second number, which will be 864 divided by 9. Forgot to change my pen. So here we go. So let's do it the standard algorithm way. How many times can 9 go into 8 without going over? It cannot, because 9 is bigger than 8. So we're going to hold a place for our hundreds by putting a 0. And now we're going to ask ourselves, how many times can 9 go into 86 without going over? Very good, scholars. The answer is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. We're going to put a 0 here because we are actually multiplying by 90. And so now we're going to subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4. 6 minus 1 is 5. And 8 minus 8 is 0. So now we're going to ask ourselves, how many times can 9 go into 54? And if you know your multiplication facts, the answer is, very good, scholars, 6. So 9 times 6 is 54. And we don't have any remainders. So scholars, let's do our check. 96 times 9. We just figured out 9 times 6 is 54. I'm going to put down the 4, carry over my 5. 9 times 9 is 81, plus 5 is 86. And as you can see, our numbers match, so we are correct. Now let's move it over and do it using our area model. Again, we're going to draw a rectangle. This time, how many numbers do we have? 3. So how many boxes are we going to have within our rectangle? 3. Very good. So let's put in 2 lines to give us 3 boxes. Our divisor is 9. And where does that go? Right outside the door. Very good, scholars. And so now, remember when we did our problem, we did not have any hundreds, so we're going to put a 0 there. In our next column, we're going to have 81 tens, and then we're going to have 54 in our ones column. 9 can go into 81 9 times. 9 times 9 is 81. How many zeros do we have? Just 1. So we're going to bring it up. And 9 times what equals 54? That's right, scholars, 6. So 9 can go into 54 6 times. And then when we add, we're left with 96. So it's just that easy. So right down here, or better yet, I'm going to go to a different page. I'm just going to bring this up a little. And now we're going to work on our next number, which is a 4-digit dividend, which is 3 is going to be our divisor, and 1,567 is our dividend. Very good, scholars. So, scholars, how many times can 3 go into 1 without going over? That's right. 3 is bigger than 1, so it cannot go into it. So, we're going to put a 0 there. And now we're going to ask ourselves, how many times can 3 go into 15 without going over? Very good, scholars. 5 times. And remember, because it is in the hundreds column, we're really saying 3 can go into 1,500 500 times. So we're going to bring down 15 and put our 2 zeros to hold our place and subtract. So now 7 minus 0 is 7, and 6 minus 0 is 6. Now, here's a little reminder that when you are working with numbers, you really need to be neat, because you need to make sure you are dividing and subtracting correctly. So now we want to see how many times can 3 go into 67. So ask yourself, how many times can 3 go into 2? 3 go into 6. I just gave you the answer. 2 times. Or 20 times, and 3 times 2 or 20 is 60. We're going to subtract, leaving us with 7. How many times can 3 go into 7? That's right, scholars, you're so smart. 2 times, 3 times 2 is 6, and when we subtract, we will be left. I'm going to have to move this up. We will be left with a remainder of 1. Don't forget your remainder. Now, scholars, we're going to do our check. Remember, we are multiplying the quotient times the divisor. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6 again. And 3 times 5 is 15, leaving us with 1,566. But please do not forget to add in your remainder. So 1,566 plus 1 is, very good, scholars, 1,567. And we check our number against our dividend, and it's the same. So we know that we are correct. So let's do this last problem using the area model. And then down at the bottom, I'm going to do all 3, if I have the room, using place value disk. So here we go. So, of course, area model. We need a rectangle. How many numbers do we have? 4. So how many boxes are we going to need? 4. And please excuse my box, it's a little off, but I am sitting down and working up. What is our divisor? 3. So how many thousands did we have? None. And we end up with 1,500. We end up with 60 tens and 7 ones. So 3 can go into 15 5 times. Don't forget to bring your zeros up because we have 2 zeros. Then 3 can go into 60 2 times. Don't forget to bring up your 0. And 3 can go into 7 2 times. And don't forget, when we subtract 6 from 7, we're left with 1. So our answer again, when we add these together, would be 522 with a remainder of 1. So scholars, now I'm going to do 97 divided by 8 using place value. So Remember, again, this is a strategy that scholars can use if they do not know their multiplication facts. This is the easiest strategy for them to use. And I will say this is also a strategy for your special ed students to use, or students that may have an IEP, which is an individual education plan. So, parents, if you're working with your special ed scholar and they don't seem able to learn the standard algorithm or the area model way, this is the best way for your special ed scholar and scholars that don't know their multiplication facts to learn. So, the first thing we need to do is draw a place value chart and label it. So let's label it ones, tens, and hundreds. I'm going to do a small one. So remember, our first number is just 97 divided by 8. So the first thing we need to do is we need to put how many place value discs in the correct column. So you have 90 tens, so we're going to put 9 in our tens column. And if you can, put it in a group of 8. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these 9 discs represent the 90 or 9 tens that you have. How many ones do you have? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to make groups of 8 because 8 is our divisor. So let's make a group of 8. I'm going to change it up and use our black pen to circle our group of 8. So there's one group of 8. And I'm going to put 1 down here because now we're counting groups. It's just that easy. I have one group of 8. But I have 1 left over. So now I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to move it back to my ones column. I'm going to decompose it or break it down from a 10, one solid 10, into 10 ones. And so I'm going to take another green. I'm going to take another color marker. And now I'm going to put in my 10. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now I'm going to go back with my black marker and I'm going to make as many groups of 8 as I can. Here's a group of 8. Here's a group of 8. And now I have 1 left over. So how many groups do you have? I have 2 groups. And how many do I have left over in my ones column? 1 lonely little green dot. There's my remainder. And guess what, everyone? Here's your answer. So 97 divided by 8 is equal to 12 with a remainder of 1. So I'm going to separate that so you can see. So again, this is your place value strategy, which is great for scholars that do not know their multiplication facts or for your special ed scholars. So let's move on quickly and let's do 864 divided by 9. Again, draw my place value. Let's label it hundreds, tens, ones. Now let's place your dots. How many hundreds do you have? I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many tens do I have? I have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And how many ones do I have? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all we did was take 864 and put it onto our place value chart using discs or dots. So now, scholars, now we need to make our groups of 9 because our divisor is 9. But look here, scholars, I only have 8 here, so I can't make a group of 9. So what I need to do is I need to move each one of these over to my tens column. And that's going to be, I need to make 80 discs. Now this is where it frustrates my students because they have to make so many discs. But like I say to them, learn your multiplication facts and then you won't have to use this method. This is the method that I tell my scholars they're walking, and this is the method in which I tell my scholars that they are running. So, but it's okay because everyone works at their own pace. So now we're going to bring over 80 tens. So let's get started, scholars. And again, we need to be neat when we're making our place value discs so we can count them easily. So I already have 6 in one row, so I'm gonna start counting, but I want to add 3 more into this row so I know I have 9 in one row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 48, 57, 66, 75 or 74, 75, 80. So now, scholars, we're going to make our groups of 9. So I have one group here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 groups. So, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left over. So I have 9 here. And now I need to move 50 over here. I don't have a lot of room, so I'm just going to do in groups of 4. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, and there I have 50. So now I'm going to make these into, remember, groups of 9. So here I have 8, and that's 1. I have 7, here's 1. That's 2. Here's a group of 9. Here's a group of 9. Here's a group of 9. And I have my last group of 9. And how many groups total do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now, scholars, my answer is 96. And last but not least, and it'll go a little bit quicker because I don't have such a big number, we're going to do 1,567 divided by 3. Again, set up our place value. We're going to label it thousands. I'm going to move my camera down just a little bit so you can see. So we have thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. How many thousands do we have? 1. How many hundreds? 5. How many tens? We have 6. And how many ones do we have? We have 7. And again, I have a place value disc or a dot that represents each number in its place value column. So now, scholars, can I make a group of 3? No, I cannot. So I'm going to move this one over, bringing over 10 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to make my groups of 3. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have no hundreds left over. Let me move this up just a little bit. Sorry about that. Have to keep it up. So now I need groups of 3 in my tens column. I have 2. How many groups of 3 do I have in my ones column? I have 2. And I have one little remainder left there. So scholars, parents, that's it. That's how we divide using the 3 different division strategies for Common Core, which are standard algorithm, area model, and using place value disc. So I hope you were able to find a strategy to help you and your scholar out. And remember, the place value disc strategy is the best strategy for those scholars who either don't know their multiplication facts or may be in special education. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye.